What is going on, Cubs fan? We are back for another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. My people, I have got a delicious treat for you today. Would you believe that it is possible to finish first place in Grand Arena Division 1 as a 100% free-to-play player? I mean, first place in the entire world. Well, I am not only going to tell you that it's possible multiple times, and I'm bringing on the guy who has got that formula figured out, and his name is Bus. What is going on, Bus? How you doing? Thanks for joining us on the Cubs Fan today.
Doing great. Cubs, hey.
So yeah. we've got a lot to talk about today. I don't know if you ever expected to end up on a YouTube video, but give me a quick synopsis here of with your record in Grand Arena and kind of where you've been placing on the leaderboard worldwide.
Yeah, so when Grand Arena was first launched, I was in Division 3.
Okay.
I moved up to Division 2. In general, during that time, I was taking top 3 in the global leaderboard.
Right out the gate, you were top 3 every time.
Yes.
Jeez.
Now, there's been one exception when I moved to Division 2, I believe it was. I did lose a round, and I remember I being surprised that I still managed around rank 100 on the global leaderboard in Khyber during that GAC. So that was the one exception.
That's an exception.
Yes.
Is finishing 100th in the world was an exception.
In Division 2.
Listen, okay, in Division 2. So do you mean to tell me that in your entire Grand Arena history, you have never finished below 100 in your respective division, and you've only lost one match ever?
I believe that's the case. I kind of wish I kept, screenshots of every one. I might have them if I do enough digging, but I can't remember any other occasion where I didn't make top 3.
So I would believe it. So I had a friend reach out to me about you. I told you this before the stream, but here's one of the screenshots that we found of you, Bus74, Division 1, rank 1 in the whole world, Premier Khyber champion. There's your banner total there. You won that one by, obviously a pretty good margin. And my knee-jerk reaction when my friend showed me this was, okay, so are you sure he's not using an APK? do you get that a lot when you tell people kind of where you're finishing?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that's kind of the initial reaction is like, oh, what's his secret? He's got to, got to just be some easy button that he's pressing, right? And certainly an APK could be that. And no, it doesn't surprise me that people ask that, because I actually, I did take a rank 2 on one GAC behind a rank 1 who was an APK cheater, and he actually did get banned. So it does happen. It has happened.
I think it's safe to say. So you've been finishing in the top 3 basically every Grand Arena, with one exception being when you finished number 100. If you were, I'm just going to say out there for the Cubs fam, if he was using an APK, this guy would have been caught by now. So let's just put that to bed. Nobody comment that this guy's using APK. He's clearly not. Now, what's really going to sell you on that also, not just the fact that CG has obviously never banned this guy, but I talked to you a little bit about how you approach Grand Arenas, and I want to show everyone how much work you are putting into these Grand Arenas. Here's a screenshot. You're old school, Bus. You like the handwritten notes here. And so you go. So can you explain this?
Pen and paper.
So pen and paper. Can you explain this sheet to me a little bit? What you've got here?
Here's my more recent one.
Yeah. Oh, so you got. So this is okay. So we got 2. We got 2.
That's from today's.
That's from today's. Oh man. Tell us about this. What when you write this out? What are you thinking? What are you putting down on paper? What's your planning process like?
So part of the reason why I write this on paper is just, it might have to do with my personality. When I went through school, I know that I might have a little ADHD, although I was never diagnosed.
That's fair.
And so just to make sure that I was paying attention, to like what was being taught, if I wrote it down, then that would sort of
help you.
Right. It would ensure that, hey, at least I'm not daydreaming. So, but it's kind of been a habit that's persisted where I'll just write things down. So when I'm reviewing my opponent's roster, which I do methodically,
Yeah.
or every round,
Yeah.
even the easiest ones. I will write notes, and so part of that is so I retain the information. Like, okay, this squad, I've noticed this about it. Like his Night Sisters is, got below a G10 zombie, so it's going to be super easy. So I'll write that down, like really bad Night Sister. I'll underscore it, and then when it comes up, I'll have all that sort of on the front of my mind. But I do a lot of analysis as well, and that all goes onto the paper.
Okay.
It's kind of like one place where I can write down what feats are in play. I'll strategize on how I'm going to allocate my resources on offense versus defense, which I tailor depending on my opponent and also depending on the feat, whatever feats are in play.
So this is fascinating. How much time do you spend then? You get your opponent, you see who you're going to be facing, you get your pen and paper out. How much time you spend putting that plan together? Roughly.
It can be, rarely would be less than 1 hour. I have had it take, probably as much as 2 hours, or maybe even more. But if you're counting time where I'm like kind of like grinding on it when I'm like going to bed, when I'm sleeping or something, I'll wake up and kind of finish it. But I mean, it's fun. It's like this problem, and I'll basically kind of do as good as I can, or real life happens too, and then sometimes I'll do less, if I'm busy. But if I can, I'll do as good of a job as I can. So that's also part of how I approach it is just doing as best as I can. Taking it seriously. So I think that's different than most people. I think most people that play the game, are just kind of, hey, this is good enough. I don't want to spend the time, and that's cool. I get it. But to be top of global leaderboard GAC, that approach won't cut it.
Right, because it's not just so for me, I don't care about being global leaderboard, and it's funny to me, like you and me, this is my career, this is my full-time job, and you take Grand Arena way more seriously than I do. I mean, I still want to win, but to me, it's more just about getting that W that matters to me, and I think that's where a lot of people are. But for you, hitting that global leaderboard is very much a priority, which is amazing to see. So for you, it's not just about getting the win, though, right? It's about getting as many banners as you possibly can. So talk me through that a little bit. How much does that dominate your thought process as you're going through Grand Arena? Banner management, feats, all of that. I'm guessing that has to be a huge part of your thought process.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back at what is the goal, and if it is to get top of global leaderboard, which for me, certainly lately it is, then getting the most banners in every round is what you need to do, because they all add up.
Right.
At the end of the GAC. So you can't just take a round off and say, oh, this is easy, I'm just going to click the easy button, set my squad that can't possibly be beaten on defense, and just not really, just kind of auto all the battles and don't undersize anything. Right.
Right.
So that's part of the challenge, it's a grind, right? You have to apply yourself for a whole month of these battles, right? There's 12 rounds. And so
even these matches that would seemingly be easy for the common person, you may look at somebody and you're like, I'm going to beat them easily. You still spend tons of time analyzing that, because again, it's not just about beating them. It's about getting as many banners as possible. So the victory may not even be an inkling of your concern. It's just, it's against yourself almost, it seems like.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, so I should say, first, to get a lot of banners, you do have to win every round, right? So, whether it's 1,000 or 1,600 or 2,000 banners or whatever it is for the GAC and division, right? That's essential, right? Also, you need to full clear everything. You generally need a very aggressive offense approach, right? You need to be full clearing the whole board. You need to be getting all the feats, and you can't be taking the easy route of setting, a really strong defense, and it does. I should say it limits the strategy
Right.
when you can. If it were necessary to do heavy defense to win the round, I would.
Right.
You do, so you prioritize things.
That's
I
interesting. That makes
suppose.
me think. Would you say you're primarily an offensive strategic thinker or a defensive strategic thinker, or somewhere in between?
It really, I think about both. When I do my analysis, I'm thinking about how to allocate my resources on offense and defense.
Mm.
And so oftentimes, saving more stronger resources for offense will let you get more banners. And so, for example, if I can save my Malik to solo a round on offense, is better than if I have to save it on defense, right?
Right.
64 banners is the best that it gets in a 5v5
Right.
battle.
So
right?
you're probably saving your Malik, you're probably saving your Nest, all of those characters with that solo potential. You're probably keeping them for offense as much as you possibly can.
That's correct. Yeah, as much as I can. So if I needed to set them on defense, I would, and I will. I have.
Yeah.
But if I don't, then I'm saving all that for offense. And but you still can't. You don't want your defenses to get pushed over. So you do still need a defensive strategy, because you do still have to win the round. And
yeah,
risks are a factor as well. So how much risk do you want to take? Like if with a real heavy offensive strategy, if your defenses are so light, your opponent might be able to score a really high number of banners against you. And then if you don't want to, it's a factor about how much risk you want to take. If I make an error on my important battle, lose those 20 banners from a first attack loss, right? Can I still win? And so that's where it's important to not set, totally light defenses that just get pushed over, right? Because it gives you a little wiggle room to still win the round, even if you make an error. Also having backup squads that you can use in case something fails. And certain squads are higher chance of failure, or I should say certain counters are higher chance of failure than others. And it varies depending, of course, on the modding and the gearing and the zetas, the turn orders. All of these things can matter as to whether a counter wins. And so typically part of my research is I'm doing a deep dive on my opponent's roster. I'm looking at missing zetas. I'm looking at underdeveloped characters, sort of really overdeveloped characters, really high relics. Sometimes, my normal counters won't work. And so I need to treat them differently, very carefully. So I'm modding and turn orders. Does my guy go before opponent's guy? Can often matter, right?
Yeah, of course. So I'm really interested. I want to talk about mods with you in a little bit, but before we get to mods, I'm really interested in this concept of taking risks for you and what that might look like for someone who is as competitive as you and finishes as successfully as you do. Can you tell me about a situation, maybe recently or just a hypothetical situation, where you would take a risk like putting Malik on defense? What would cause you to take a risk like that? What are you looking for?
So Malik on defense, probably not the best example, because you're just giving up what I would think for my recent rounds is I would give up the ability to use them on offense, right?
Right.
Maybe not along the lines of a risk, but maybe trying a risky counter would be
okay.
And I could certainly give you some examples of some failed first attempts that I've had. Let's see, Wampa versus Ewoks. I think I had a fail.
Oh no!
On today's round on my Wampa versus Ewoks. I knew it was risky. Honestly, I knew it was risky before I started it. That I'm looking at the gear level of Wicket, basically kind of the offense potential of Wicket there.
Right.
Because basically Wampa to 1v5 Ewoks, first he has to go first. He has to get his purple protection up going. which gives him bonus stats.
You've got a Relic Wampa too.
I do, yeah. Relic 3. It was required for Jedi Luke. I'm happy with
which we're going to talk about because you have Jedi Luke and you're free to play.
Correct. Yeah.
No APKs, guys. I'm serious. We're going to talk about that too. So we got this. This is the thing is I was talking to you. I was like, there's so many things I want to ask you because you're so ultra efficient. I mean, I don't think I've ever, and I've been in this community for such a long time at a very competitive level, understanding a lot of different, ends of this community. I've never met anybody that is as efficient as you are in terms of not just Grand Arena, but also in basic account management, which we'll also talk about. So let's talk about mods real quick. So tell me about your modding process as far as like how, obviously mods are going to be really important to you. So just talk to me about mods and how you approach them.
Well, first off, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm flattered. It's fun to talk. I'm happy to talk as long as you want. I'm flattered at your opinion. So thank you.
I don't know if it's even my opinion. I think the Cubs fan is probably going to agree with me. So we'll all collectively tout you as the most efficient free-to-play player ever.
Oh, yeah. You're going to like make my head get big.
I see your headset. Your headset's starting to expand a little bit. It's going to break by the end of the video. Anyway, go on. Mod.
So mod farming. So what do you want to talk? There's mod farming techniques for efficiency. That might be a good thing to touch on.
Let's talk about farming because I think it would be impossible for you to be as successful as you are without some of the best mods you could have at your GP level, which your GP, I don't know if I've shown your .gg on screen yet. Let me pull it up. It's right here. Your GP is sitting at, where is it? It's 5 point, let me go back to your main screen here. 5.114 million GP.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
Talk to me about mod farming. This has got to be an obsession of yours.
So, okay. Even taking a step back from mod farming, there's something that I studied in operations management. It was part of a business school curricula. It was called The Theory of Constraints.
Okay.
Actually, there was a book by Eli Goldratt that I can't remember exactly what it's called, but
so if this guy's bringing in books by somebody named Eli Goldratt about optimization, see guys, this is why he's doing this and why I'm not, okay? Because I don't read books by people like that, so I don't know these optimization things. So teach me.
Thank you. Yeah. No. This is actually, I was fascinated when I learned this stuff because you can get a company to be a lot more profitable by applying these stuff. So,
sure.
It's very practical, but you can also apply it to SWGoH free-to-play farming.
Why
so
not?
That's kind of what so basically a technique that I learned was it has to do with identifying what your constraint is. And so when we're developing our rosters, there's so many different I'll call them dimensionalities of resources, right? To farm mods, you need crystals if you're going to, refresh your mod energy to do mod challenges, to either farm the slicing materials or the
slicing materials, just the mod energy in general,
right?
Yeah.
The mod challenges is where you farm, I think is what it's called, for the random 5 dot mods in a certain set, right?
Yep.
So that uses crystal. And then another way you can get mods, whether you call this farming is kind of up to, nomenclature, I guess, is to buy them, right, for in the mod store for either credits or fleet building materials,
right.
fleet credits, people call them. So in my current situation, I have crystals to spare, right? I could refresh mod energy, but I'm limited on credits. So I also have some fleet building materials to spare. But so right now that's holding back my mod farming. So for example, going back to what I was talking about, theory of constraints. So identify your constraint. It's not crystals, it's credits. And then try to alleviate those constraints. So basically, however else in the game you can get by not spending credits, right? then you can farm more mods, right? So, for example, how can you?
Interesting.
I sort of did an assessment of how often I was moving mods,
Uh-huh.
and especially when you move a 6E mod, like just to demod and remod a character with 6Es, it can cost like 100,000 credits, like just for one round. Like,
Which
so
is
if
dumb,
you,
by the way, but it is what it is.
it is what it is. So that's another thing, right? Like just it is what it is. Accept it. That's another thing that I guess I've done, right? I
Right.
just accept it. Maybe as free to play, it's easier to do that because it's like not like you're spending money, so you don't get that
Right.
outraged if it's not perfect, right? It's like, hey, I spend my time on this, and okay, if it's not perfect, I'll just do the best I can. At least it's the same for everyone else, right? Who plays
Right.
the game. So for example, I made a change where I realized if I don't move mods around as much, then I will reduce my credit expense. So I'll have more. It's basically the same thing as increasing your credit income, is reducing your expense. And so then I'll have some more credits available. So this actually comes back to our squad arena. So I think you mentioned earlier that I was not climbing to the top of squad arena.
Yeah, it was something that surprised me because you're sitting here kind of in the top 50 consistently, but fleet is where you're getting your main crystal income.
At the moment, that's correct. So I could climb to the top of squad arena if I remove mods a lot. And like every day, and also it can bite you. Like if I've had premature GA roster locks when I've had my mods all messed up.
Oh,
severely
no.
messed up.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do.
No, I've still pulled off some Kyber Premier Champion with screwed up up boss. Yeah, so that's another thing. Like, don't give up.
This guy's
just
a
basically
machine.
But basically you change your plan. Like, don't just do what you're always doing, right?
Yeah.
Say, okay, well,
Adapt.
I've got a screwed up, I've got a super slow whatever guy. How am I gonna still counter the squad and do what I need to do, right? Just so that's something else I learned. Like, just don't give up. I learned it's sort of a principle of a sport, right? The things that, like, if you play high school sports, your coach told you, like, even in the face of hard odds, like, don't give up, keep trying, learn from your mistakes. It's those kind of things. It is kind of my approach to.
You need to be a Galaxy of Heroes pep talker. We need to get you on payroll, and we'll have you go to people's houses and just get them psyched for their grand arenas. You can be a grand arena coach. Let's do it.
I have inspired people who I speak to before. They've told me that, hey, I appreciate you talking about this. I'm inspired. I'm going to try it. I'm going to, do something different.
You seem very, I just want to kind of comment in general based on the conversation we've had. You seem very, very happy-go-lucky about the game right now, which I find very refreshing, given I think right now a lot of people are kind of down on the game. Myself included. I'm trying to be optimistic and trying to see the good, but I've been frustrated with a few things. Could you tell me, Buzz, how you feel about the current state of the game and kind of what your mindset is like in that regard?
I mean, honestly, it's I can like think different things. Like I can the two new Galactic Legends. I'm going to be honest. I was a little disappointed after hearing that Disney was going to what I heard was make the sequels decanonize. I think is the word. Some of the content in the sequels. So hearing that now we're still getting these characters, which are the sequel characters, which might be decanonized in SWGoH. So honestly, I was a little disappointed that I about these.
If it makes you feel
we're
any
getting
better,
Ray's grandpa. We're getting Ray's grandpa, and we're getting who's the other guy? The hermit dude who's I don't know.
It's Luke Skywalker.
Abandoned everyone. Yeah, hermit Luke.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've done research on that. I don't think there's much substance to the decanonized theory. I think they're going to leave it. If it's any consolation.
I had to look up what canon meant. I know this cannon that you fire, but what is? I think I heard of some classical music.
It's what the official
canon
powers
in D
that
major,
be.
But what's this definition of canon mean?
Official story, I guess, is the best way to say that. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so Galactic Legends you weren't super happy with, but otherwise, how do you feel?
Uh, I mean, it's a game. I'm still playing it.
Yeah,
I'm able to be competitive. I think that's pretty fun
right.
without spending. You know the story. I put a lot of time into it, but without spending any money, and I still have a shot if I play my cards right, if
Yeah,
I do well, if I'm smart at 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 taking a top global board position. So
yeah.
that's fun. So I'm enjoying it. I'm having a ball. I mean with that opportunity presented, that's
Mm.
that's super fun.
Yeah. Well, it definitely shows that you're having a lot of fun. Any last thing I want to leave you with, Bus, is any words of advice you'd have for fellow free to play players out there like yourself who are maybe discouraged about Grand Arena or having feeling discouraged about Grand Arena. What kinds of advice would you give players like that?
Um, think for yourself. Don't just copy what other people are doing.
Hmm.
Think for yourself, um, and experiment. If you have a theory that something might work, try it out. Experiment it and try and learn from it if it goes wrong.
Hmm.
And at least you're not spending any money. So hey, it's just some time, and um, I don't know.
It's just some time.
It's just your time.
It's just your time.
I spend a lot of my time on the game, but it's just time. It's not money. So hey,
This is something.
at least it's not like a gambling. Where I can
There's
lose
worse
my
addictions you
life
could
savings,
have.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just spending some time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wish for you especially. I wish we could see, when you log into Steam or something, it'll show you how much time you've spent on specific games. I wish there was a way to encapsulate
Yeah.
all of the time you've spent on this game, both in the game and prepping for grand arenas and stuff. I think that number would be pretty high. Well, Bus, I've got a million other questions to ask you. But we're gonna wrap up. We've already gone a bit long here. I want to offer you up, everyone. If you've got more follow-up questions for Bus, fill up the comments below. If you wouldn't mind, Bus, go ahead and check out the comments and respond if you can to any of them. If anyone has any other questions for you, or I'll be sure to. Maybe we can do a follow-up on this if you guys are interested in it. And talk about this. I do want to bring you on the whale chat. So I'm sure we can arrange that sometime soon. But Bus, again, thank you so much for your time and sharing a little bit into your mind. I really do think what you are doing is one of the most impressive, fascinating things I've ever seen in this game. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, Cubs. I'm flattered, and thank you for having me.
You bet, man. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for the video. Like it on the way out. And as always, my brothers, don't forget,